General Hospital will reveal Port Charles, a town once known for its maritime charm and sense of close-knit community, has always been a place where the line between public peace and private chaos is razor-thin. For decades, General Hospital has stood not only as the medical hub of the region but also as the quiet heartbeat of the town, a place where triumph and tragedy, hope and heartbreak, justice and betrayal unfold every day behind glass doors and sterile hallways. Generations of families have lived and died within its walls. Lovers have met and parted. Friends have become enemies. And enemies have sometimes become something else entirely. But the week stretching from May 12 to May 16 feels palpably different. It isn't just another chapter in an ongoing soap opera, it is a crescendo, a convergence, a moment when the seams holding everything together begin to pull apart. What makes this week uniquely volatile is not a single event, but the cumulative unraveling of multiple threads that have been quietly spinning just beneath the surface for months. Perhaps even years. There is a quiet dread that seems to hum through the walls of General Hospital, a sense that something is deeply wrong, even if no one dares to say it aloud. One by one, key players are being removed from the board, whether by their own volition or by darker, more deliberate forces. At the same time, new and mysterious figures are entering the arena, cloaked in ambiguity and bearing motives no one can yet decode. Familiar faces vanish like ghosts, while strangers smile too easily, their words too carefully chosen. This is not simply the shifting of cast members in and out of frame, it is a reordering of power, a recalibration of influence, and potentially, the beginning of something far more sinister. The emotional climate in Port Charles is tense. Long-time residents sense the change in the air, the same way animals go silent before a storm. It's in the way doctors glance over their shoulders in the corridors, how nurses whisper in the break rooms, how administrators stay late with doors locked and blinds drawn. No one says it, but they all feel it. General Hospital is no longer the sanctuary it once was. It has become a battlefield dressed as a place of healing, and the war is being waged not with weapons, but with secrets, manipulation, and cold strategic moves made under the guise of progress and professionalism. And then, there are the disappearances, too many, too fast. Brad's abrupt departure has sent shockwaves through every department. Though on paper it seems like a resignation and relocation. Those closest to him know the signs of someone pushed out rather than simply walking away. His history, fraught with past deceptions and moral ambiguity, makes him a convenient scapegoat. But even his detractors feel the hollow echo left behind. His exit is like a puzzle piece removed from a fragile structure, and now the entire picture is beginning to shift. Meanwhile, whispers of Cassandra's return ripple through social circles like wildfire. She was a ghost of the past, a symbol of menace and control cloaked in elegance and intellect. If she is truly returning to Port Charles, it will not be for closure. It will be for unfinished business, and likely, revenge. As if that weren't enough, the arrival of a new face, Henry. A self-proclaimed professor with polished credentials and a smile that doesn't quite reach his eyes, has caught the attention of more than a few residents. On the surface, he appears to be harmless. Just another academic eager to contribute to Port Charles's expanding research initiatives. But beneath that exterior lies a trail of inconsistencies, untraceable references, and veiled connections to global pharmaceutical networks that suggest he is not what he claims to be. Jocelyn, already reeling from her own personal entanglements, senses the danger and begins to quietly investigate. What she uncovers over the coming days will not only threaten her safety but potentially expose a conspiracy that could tear down the very institution her family and friends have trusted for years. Portia, wounded but resilient, is also beginning to uncover signs that General Hospital is being used for something far beyond medicine. Tampered files, hidden accounts, missing supplies, and strange movements on hospital surveillance point to the presence of a much larger operation, one that seems to be embedding itself deeper into the hospital's infrastructure with each passing day. She is not alone in her suspicions. Curtis, Lulu, and even Dante are picking up on the same cues, each one drawing closer to a truth they cannot yet fully grasp. The pieces are there. Scattered and incomplete, but the image they form is one of invasion, subversion, and danger unlike anything the town has seen in years. And all of this is happening beneath the surface of ordinary life. Babies are born, patients are discharged, surgeries go on as scheduled. But the foundation is cracking. Every handshake carries a hidden motive, every smile may mask a threat, every medical decision might be influenced by an unseen hand pulling the strings from the shadows. This week will not merely be about who stays or who goes. It will be about survival. It will be about drawing lines, choosing sides, and uncovering which battles are worth fighting when the enemy may already be inside the gates. In the days ahead, Port Charles will change, not incrementally, but fundamentally. Friendships will end. Alliances will shift. Truths long buried will surface like splinters through skin. And at the heart of it all lies General Hospital, once a symbol of hope, now the eye of an approaching storm. The question is no longer whether chaos is coming. It's already here. The real question is, who will be left standing when the dust finally settles? Port Charles is heating up as a wave of dramatic change threatens to sweep through General Hospital. While the town is still reeling from recent turmoil, a new series of events set to unfold from May 12 to May 16 is poised to reshape the entire landscape. As familiar faces exit and mysterious newcomers arrive, the fragile balance between old alliances and hidden agendas begins to shift. One of the most shocking developments is the sudden departure of Brad, who had been a fixture at the hospital since 2013. Involved in numerous high-stakes storylines, from the baby swap scandal involving Wiley to his complicated relationships with Britt and Lucas, Brad has long been entangled in the fabric of Port Charles. Yet, no one anticipated that after years of struggle and survival, he would choose to walk away by betraying Portia, the very person who had once supported him. Selling Portia out to Drew for a large sum of money and resigning from his lab tech position has not only stunned the hospital but raised serious questions about whether this is just a tactical retreat or part of a far more dangerous scheme. Brad's exit isn't merely a farewell to a longtime character, it's a harbinger of deeper turmoil brewing beneath the surface. While he walks away from secrets that may soon resurface, rumors are swirling around a potential comeback of one of the show's most dangerous villains. A seemingly innocent behind-the-scenes photo featuring Chris and Jessica has sparked speculation that Cassandra might be making her return to Port Charles, not to stir trouble in passing, but to finish what she once started. If true, her comeback could spell disaster, especially considering her history of bioterrorism, government manipulation, and infiltration of the town's healthcare systems. But the storm doesn't stop there. As residents try to piece together the fallout, a new mysterious figure steps onto the stage. Henry, who introduces himself as Professor Dalton, has begun shadowing Jocelyn with vague intentions and a suspiciously veiled past. His mannerisms and cryptic comments hint at deeper connections. But no one can pin down who he really is or what he wants. Rumors suggest that he might have once collaborated with Cassandra in biotech experiments, raising alarms that his presence is no coincidence. As he integrates himself deeper into the town's infrastructure, many fear he may be here to destabilize it from within. Meanwhile, Portia, reeling from Brad's betrayal, is quietly investigating odd discrepancies at the hospital, signs that point toward an internal sabotage. She uncovers confidential documents revealing irregular financial transactions funneled into a shadow account under Henry's name. This discovery suggests that the recent upheavals, Brad's exit, Cassandra's rumored return, and Henry's suspicious arrival, are all connected, orchestrated by an unseen hand attempting to corrupt the hospital for a much darker purpose. Curtis, still recovering from his injury, is pulled into the investigation when he finds that his own rehabilitation records have been tampered with. As he digs deeper, he begins to notice disturbing patterns, cases that vanish from hospital databases and staff members who resign suddenly and without explanation. At the same time, Lulu, still not fully recovered physically, proves to be a natural leader in the emerging fight to protect General Hospital's integrity. Information from a mysterious whistleblower points her toward the theory that the facility is being used as a testing ground for unauthorized experiments. Though she lacks solid proof, the implications are too severe to ignore. She realizes that if she doesn't act, lives may be at stake. Meanwhile, Jocelyn grows increasingly wary of Henry. Although her instincts tell her something is off, she lacks the evidence to confront him outright. Undeterred, she begins tracking his movements and collecting samples of the equipment he leaves behind in restricted labs. What she finds shocks her: encrypted codes and data strings that appear to be linked to the hospital's security system. The conclusion is chilling. Henry may be manipulating the digital infrastructure to cover up illegal activities. Knowing full well the risks, Jocelyn pushes forward, even as she inches closer to danger with each step. As these pieces fall into place, Port Charles is transforming into a battleground between shadowy forces and the courageous few determined to defend truth and justice. In just 5 short days, from May 12 to May 16, the town will witness the unraveling of old relationships, the formation of unexpected alliances, and the beginning of a conflict no one is prepared for. With Brad's mysterious disappearance, Cassandra's ominous potential return, and Henry's increasingly alarming presence, a new chapter is unfolding, one filled with uncertainty, peril, and the kind of darkness that threatens to consume everything and everyone in its path. As the final hours of this harrowing week in Port Charles approach, the town stands on the precipice of irreversible change. What began as a quiet shift in daily routines has now unraveled into a full-blown reckoning, one that threatens not just the individuals involved, but the very soul of General Hospital itself. Brad's departure, though seemingly personal, has exposed cracks in the institution's foundation that had long been ignored. His silence as he walked away speaks volumes. It echoes through every hallway he once walked, leaving those who remain to wonder what he knew, what he feared, and whether his absence is just the first of many. The growing fear surrounding the potential return of Cassandra has turned whispers into urgent warnings. For those who remember the damage she once inflicted, the mere thought of her stepping foot back into Port Charles is enough to reignite old traumas and reawaken deeply buried grudges. If she returns with vengeance in her heart and new alliances at her disposal, then this town, already fragile from recent betrayals, may not withstand the fallout. Her kind does not return to make peace. She returns to reclaim power. And those who think they are prepared to confront her may find themselves woefully unequipped for the devastation she could unleash. Yet perhaps the most chilling development of all is the arrival of Henry, a man whose presence feels less like a coincidence and more like a carefully orchestrated infiltration. He doesn't speak in threats, doesn't raise suspicion with overt actions. Instead, he integrates himself quietly, systematically, gaining access to systems, to people, to trust. He asks the right questions, attends the right meetings, and smiles just enough to appear harmless. But those with instincts honed by years of survival, Portia, Jocelyn, Curtis, Lulu, are beginning to connect the dots. Each small anomaly, each suspicious signature, each tampered file is leading them toward a horrifying realization: Henry is not an observer. He is a catalyst. And whatever he was sent here to accomplish, the clock is ticking. The true tragedy, however, may not lie in any one person's actions but in the collective silence that has allowed these shadows to deepen. For too long, residents have accepted what they see at face value, turning a blind eye to warning signs and calling them coincidences. Now, that complacency may cost them dearly. General Hospital, once a sanctuary for the ill and the vulnerable, is becoming a nexus of danger. Lives are being manipulated behind the guise of treatment, personal data is being weaponized, and trust is being systematically dismantled. It is no longer a question of whether something is wrong, it is a matter of how deep the corruption goes and how many lives it will destroy before the truth is brought to light. And still, in the midst of chaos, there is courage. Portia is no longer just a doctor, she has become a sentinel, guarding not only her patients but the sanctity of the institution she serves. Jocelyn, still so young yet infinitely brave, is willing to risk everything, her safety, her freedom, her reputation, to uncover the truth. Curtis, recovering in body but sharpened in mind, is stepping back into the fray, refusing to let weakness stop him from standing on the front lines. And Lulu, haunted by what she's endured, is using her pain as fuel, pushing forward with the grit of someone who refuses to be silenced. Together, these individuals form the last line of defense between the hospital and the abyss now yawning beneath it. But what if it's already too late? The days ahead will not offer easy answers. Battles will be fought in silence and shadows, with no guarantee of victory. Relationships will be tested to their breaking point, and those who stand on the sidelines may find themselves casualties in a war they never saw coming. Because this is no longer just a matter of who stays and who leaves. It is a matter of who survives, and what they become in the process. When everything they once believed in begins to fall apart, will they cling to the fading illusion of safety, or will they rise to the challenge and rebuild something stronger, more just, and unshakably true? The reckoning has begun in Port Charles. The clock is ticking. And when the dust settles, the town may never recognize itself again. But in that chaos, perhaps, just perhaps, there lies the chance to forge something new. Not out of ashes, but out of resolve. Not from fear, but from unyielding truth. And for those willing to face that truth head-on, this week may mark not an end, but the beginning of a new legacy, one written not in secrets and silence, but in courage, defiance, and the unwillingness to surrender to the darkness that nearly consumed them all.